Back for part 2. Earlier in the last video, for anyone that's following along, we talked about the alarm and the alarming Amber Alert kind of code. And now what we're going to do is put it together with this video that I wrote down, Systematic Target Attack. And that's part 3 of the code. So I already have our audio pumped up on the computer. Slow down. Where's my volume? Sorry, just take me a minute. The champion of all of us suffering people. Boy, my hair's a mess. Sure, I'm a holistic stylist. Whatever. All right, what's my show about now? Well, it's about this. Today, we had our story, which I will go into again momentarily. You know, it's all about community, taking care of each other, being neighborly, you know, revival, all the good, noble things that everybody pretends is going on. 2 years for an eternity. Because they're scared. I don't really know. One's on the run. Well, anyhow, of course, the derelict house next door, you know, they sent a new inspector today. You know, they always like to rotate people. That way there's plausible deniability. Well, the little inspector that came to open the fence and, you know, the gate to this derelict property. Earlier, I reported he poked his head over it. Well, after Ferguson's city worker left, and when I went over there to take the photographs that are now on my Facebook page have been made public, 20 Royal, I noticed that he left the big gate open. So, another question for the dear inspector, whoever he may be. Why would you leave a gate open in an abandoned property that's going into foreclosure? I mean, if it were me, I would surely think that by leaving that gate open that you would invite burglars. I mean, somebody waiting for the house to get hit? Mm-hmm. Does it put us in danger? Better believe it does. Good thing there's bars on the basement windows at 12 Royal. Or I would have never
Doesn't matter if they blow up 20 Royal,
really
does
honest.
Italian Castle
When
Point.
you grow up a policeman's kid, and you see the stories up close and personal, you take your security a little more seriously. Especially when you do grow up in a place that is considered dangerous. And I'm sorry if it hurts anyone's feelings that North County is considered dangerous. We see it everywhere in St. Louis. I mean, St. Charles used to be the promised land, y'all. Don't you remember the first wave of the Great White Flight? Everybody moved to St. Charles, across the river. O'Fallon used to be the boondocks, and now it's overpopulated. And my story is no different than any other migrant, truly. So, you know, people assume if they're the same color or they have something worthwhile to contribute to a community, that they would be welcome when they moved to their new home. But I promise you, those farmers in O'Fallon felt the same way about the people that, came from, like, say, St. Charles or North County, that were running from something too terrifying to even identify. Okay. Well, this whole idea that someone that was born here in this country that we call America could ever be a refugee. See, that's when you need another hit of crack and some more doctor meds, right? Because the honest to God truth is all the people that have lost their homes, whether it's in Texas, Florida, Alabama, Missouri. I mentioned California, right? What about Texas, too? Oh, yeah. All over the planet, people are losing their homes. Now, here in America, it's much better for us to focus on a place outside the country, and that way we can really feel like we're doing something special. While we ignore what goes on right here. That takes a brave soul, doesn't it? Well, maybe that's why I need a temporary profile, huh? What do you mean, Suze? You were just talking about the neighbor at 20 Royal. And you're absolutely right, but I know you hear the music in the background. Sometimes it just kind of hits me up the head, upside the head, and says, Suze, smile, man. Take it easy. Relax while we destroy your life, please. We like looking at you much more when you smile. All right. So, let's just review electronics and computer stuff. Here I've got a fancy iPhone, and here I've got a fancy Apple computer that I'm live streaming to you from. Now, I turn my phone on, enter my passcode like a good girl. And what do you see? Okay, so my phone wants me to add a temporary bio currently. Now, I've tried to tell the phone politely, and I know this isn't Mr. Computerhead, or he would have heard me, right? But I've said to the phone, I like my current bio just fine, thank you very much. I'm actually live streaming from it right now. Suze B. Pratt on Facebook. So here I'm Suze B. Pratt on Facebook, but I can't get to Suze B. Pratt. I was going to show Joe the pictures of the property that I documented at 20 Royal today, but I can't access anything on my iPhone. Isn't that great? Now, I used to be very, very active in the community. So much so that when we first came here to Ferguson, when everybody was plotting, to take us down, but we were still up, still supportive, we volunteered. Oh, yeah. Farmers market. We did the gingerbread houses with the kids at Northern Lights. We also did the tie-dye at the farmers market with the FYI. And I thought, since I was, remembering FYI today, I'd also like to bring into my pro se witness of what's occurring here and all over. would be the Ferguson Youth Initiative. Now, there was a wonderful woman by the name of Gail Babcock that devoted countless years while I was doing her hair. I was her friend, stylist, and personal confidant. Now, it was really important for Gail to get this Ferguson Youth Initiative off the ground. And believe it or not, they gave her hell for 2.5 years because it was a liability to send these teenagers that were going to pay off tickets and fines that they couldn't afford to pay. See, they were going to work it off. So Gail, being the adult, was going to take these kids to go clean up yards like the ex-Shans, or however you say that dopey-ass name. Azacation, Azakayan. It's about this long. Well, anyhow. See, that group doesn't do that kind of stuff anymore, and they didn't even make it 6 months doing that stuff. The question is, who got Gail's fortune that she left to FYI? That's the bigger question, I think, tonight. Now, her son, whom she loved, was in charge of her estate. And he thought that it'd be wise that since she loved FYI so much, that they received that money. Now, if you have a woman that you make Citizen of the Year, because she's, that's the year that they know she's going to pass. She's terminal, her cancer's back, you see. Make a BFD about her, and then shit all over her legacy. Yeah, Ferguson Youth Initiative never did, like I said, go around and clean up old people's yard or get to do the things that Gail envisioned. Oh no. Instead, they were used for more PR
Don't
type
call your fucking mother to pick you up.
of
Whatever you do, she drives
activities.
a
And
Jeep,
of
the
course,
fucking tops will fly off.
they have space in the old fire department on Church Street. So you see, it is really a cool thing that these kids would have a place to hang out, to do music, to do arts and crafts, which was all the noble reasons behind the Ferguson Youth Initiative. But the primary thing was so these kids could pay off their speeding tickets or whatever trouble they were in with the city. Loitering, minor offenses without them being violent was the criteria. Now, I don't remember this guy's name because he really offended my spirit.
What do you say?
I'm going to call out the man. And I remember his name was James, and boy, he was pretty. He was pretty much a shill, is what he was. He was the only one that voted no when I appeared in front of the city council back in March of 2010 in order to be allowed to do business in this city. Because like I told you, I've been blacklisted. I was told I would never live or work in this city. How do you like that? Especially if you grow up here your whole life. Primarily North County. Mulling Acres, which is a neighboring community. My first salon was in Hazelwood, a neighboring community, home of Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, so on and so forth, etc., etc. And of course, don't forget Florist and Valiant Flowers, neighboring sister city, home of the gold camps. Fine restaurant owners at Cugino's. Cops love to go there. I mean, so I knew what I was up against in each one of these towns. I was harassed in each one of these towns. I kept the paper, excuse me, the paperwork from being harassed in each one of these towns as well. And you see, it doesn't matter what a good person you are. Because each time somebody gossips, if it's negative, it'll tell 10 people. If it's positive, 3 will get told. And as so many of you know, you enjoy so much more reading negative news and bullshit about people and listening to mainstream media than you do about actually really doing something to make a change, however it be. A lot of people get stuck on just one subject, and they become fodder and feed for this very machine that repeats over and over and over. And of course, you know, I'm Susie Obvious, the girl that no one was able to compromise, no matter how shitty people want to think I am. People know I'm bulletproof because I've been honest. And I've got nothing to lose. Because you see, like we've talked about in the video earlier today, if you go back to my Facebook page, there's only one person that would have theoretically, we call it called the city. Well, you see, since the city is so corrupt, you can't call the city. You go to a website where you log in your anonymous complaint. Do we not know that there are no secrets? So anytime you make a complaint, believe me, if some federal jury wants to know who made that complaint, sure as shit, they'll know it came from Bill. Now, let's be fair to Bill. Bill would be the next door neighbor at 20 Royal. Always been crabby. I told you about him and his sister. It was like flowers in the attic. And they got mental problems. Always did. And these are stories that come from the city. I wasn't here. I didn't do it, right? But mom and dad have a big garden at that house. And these grown-ass kids that are now elderly never moved out. And when mom and dad were dead, they quit taking care of the garden. And after the tornado, Bill decided that they were going to rip every one of their parents' historic flowers and then not allow anyone to get them, all to be thrown in the dumpster. See, these show issues. And so, like I said, if Bill's got issues and he's mowing the grass, and then we live right next door to a shithole jungle and we clean up our side, what, we're not allowed to put their debris in their yard, but he can mow their grass and leave the debris that would be lawn waste on our driveway. See, that's classic, man. You gotta love that. I mean, this is a man that we've helped when he was down and out. Through the tornado, through the loss of his sister, through all the crap that goes on Royal Avenue and every other street across America and the world. And I am not almost mean as this system, by the way. I can't believe they say I'm mean. I'm just trying to stay alive, man. I'm trying to be one of those people y'all be proud of and say, well, you know, Suze did stand up for that. Suze did try to warn us. Suze did give her whole life to doing our hair for way under the price of someone of her skill level. She was a good friend to us when we needed her.
It's not gas.
All of those things. See, but I'm too hot, man. And I don't mean good looking. I mean dangerous to them.
Where's Pratt?
Because I bring truth. So they get to each one of these people and say, you better not even go over there. These people are in so much trouble. And they spin lies,
Is Rex in?
fake paperwork.
Pretty sure he was.
Why?
Yeah.
To tag us again, put us on another bad list. So see, I'm going to say the reason I know it was Bill that called that number or went on that website or went down to City Hall with his thumb up his ass and reported it. The reason I say I know it was Bill is because when I was dragging those limbs over there before we threw them over into the yard, well, you see, he was outside yelling and cussing and GDing because now those limbs were over by his house. Oh my God, we didn't leave them for everybody to see. Isn't the point that you got to have your front look good, and as long as it's behind a fence or behind somebody's front doors, that nobody should be concerned. And like I said, why should we pay for someone else's waste to be removed when the city offered to mow their grass for them and charge them? Well, then surely the city should have come looked over the fence before today and saw that 3-foot high grass in the city. Should have came and mowed that grass. And the city should have never told me I wasn't allowed to be here. And the city needs to call Michael Hurst into account. Let's bring these slumlords up.
It's fucking so fucking muddy out there right now.
I bet it is.
Oh,
And the reason I say that is because when we first came here, 25 South Florissant was supposed to be coming up to code. All I wanted to do was live in an apartment and get away from my mentally abusive ex-husband, Dobie the Turnip Pratt. Wanted to start a new life. Wanted to have a little bit of peace in my 40s. Wanted to bring my kids because I was legal guardian, still am. So, when you're told by the landlord of a property that it will be brought up to code, and he stands right next to the head honcho of the town, who now can't speak for himself. So surely if I bring up a truth about Joe Lanero, we'll see, I'm Animathea. I mean, you may as well hang me up in the gallows. Everybody feels sorry for him because he had a stroke about 7 months after he said to me, it was cool that I was a witch and he used to date one. And I said, dude, I am not a witch. I mean, this is the modern day, y'all. Whether it's my A-negative blood type or this red hair or the family name of Glasscock or a grandpa that was described for World War II or just a big mouth redhead that wanted to come online and see her old friends. Oh, you got to switch over in the internet, didn't you? And I'll tell you what. Mr. Computer Head and all of these 3-letter agencies and all of these people that I agreed to allow to monitor everything I do and say. Well, I've proved the fact that there is a trustworthy person and it's me. But still, I can't catch a break and get harassed every day. Pathetic. That's all I got to say. And I don't want a temporary bio. I want my Suze Pratt back on my iPhone. Chop, chop.
Tag chop chop videos.
Remember,
God.
Apple or Facebook or Google are unable to uphold contractual contracts that they want to hold us to. And I've seen great changes, and I've witnessed to all of y'all that things are getting better.
So
But maybe it's time to take it up a notch.
what it says.
Yeah.
You have had many chances and you have failed to comply. So the one is it's no longer a benchmark on the they know that you're going to live in a state.
Yeah.
So they have now they put out multiple warrants. They said that her driver's license, her like they've shut her down.
Good.
I held it up to her.
What happened? Are you all right?
Are you broke?
Okay, everybody's fine at Big Yellow House. That's good to know, isn't it?
Are you broke?
Joe
Yeah,
and Boots
right.
fell over and had an accident.
Not the road.
Okay, now, what was Joe talking about in the background? Okay, what do you do when you're a mom of 3 and have devoted your whole life to being a businesswoman and a mother and a decent person? And your middle daughter, see, she gonna leave it all in her mama name. You know that ghetto rap song? Man, I was gonna find it and do a video, right? And when they were playing that song, you see, what I was gonna be doing is showing y'all as evidence all of the letters from the lawyers, the bill collectors. Oh, and she's an ultimate diva. All the fancy dancy people that she owes money to. Now, before you bitch at my kid, don't forget that these young people have no decent jobs. They do whore themselves out. They do get involved in agendas without even knowing which ends up, just like big kids. But hey, it must be me because I'm her mother, right? Well, what Joe was explaining is that she's in major ass trouble. And here again, I just want to document for the record, her own mother has not spoke to this child, this 22-year-old baby, for a year and 8 months, because see, I had to break it down for her. That this industry, which would be dancing, escorting, you know, being one of the beautiful people, is directly involved with child trafficking industry, with all that dirty pedophilia stuff y'all have to hear about, organ harvesting, and where all the people go. Where did the homeless people go? Where did the refugees go? Where'd your friend go? Dumbasses. Well, anyhow, I do not know Lauren Nicole Pratt. I do not know her address. Her father does, Timothy Michael Pratt. But of course, he has violated all terms and legal agreements of our divorce, as well as alienated all my children from me. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ian still loves his mom, he's sweet. But, you know, the daughters are the first ones to go, especially when they love you and want to be just like you. Well, Lauren, Nicole Pratt, like I said. I don't know what your address is, little girl, so I can't return your mail to sender. And I'm not going to shove it down your dad's face. I did that back in the day, remember? When you were underage and your dad helped you say fuck you to not only the school but to your mother. Remember? You were going to try to go to another school district and I made sure that the courts upheld things the right way. And you were indoctrinated into that gang. And they had you suck that dude's junk, buck ass naked on your little pictures that go away. Remember that, little girl? Remember the paperwork this high? You leave my house as an adult and think you're going to leave all this shit in my name? Oh, and in the meantime, hey, that gives another reason for Ferguson to come after me. Oh, and I'm not just talking. Remember when I documented the cops pulling up the wrong way and came on our personal property in our backyard and poked around looking for the car that you were involved with falsifying documents on? Hey, I don't care if you're in
Tag
somebody's gang
Catherine
or not.
Robbie and the Jeep and the money
There comes a
tied to a
time
fake court case.
where every one of us better be ready to
Real.
sacrifice our lives. Because we don't have them anymore anyhow. That's why everybody cries instead of acts. Now, I know people that are acting. And I'm grateful. Grateful for every one of you people that have got a lick of common sense left. And you know what? Let's jump subjects for just a second. Yeah. Everybody wants to make fun of all these supernatural events.
This is so
We have been
relevant to
blessed.
today.
So much grace.
Wow.
An extended time to do the right thing. Well, you see, we got the big eclipse coming up on the 12th. And another one on the 28th. So you got one on this dark moon, one on this full moon.
Hi,
Boogie,
Jimmy.
boogie, boogie. See, bad people been spell casted for a long time, y'all. Wasn't just a little fairy tale to entertain you. Come to find. So, people that are involved in all these agendas, they're either puppeted or possessed. How about that? It should warm everybody's hearts. And that's why we're dealing with such dangerous things here again. But I'll tell you what, this whole thing, the last time they came looking for Lauren, I had 3 feds pull up with guns drawn coming at me. Yeah. I documented it too. And I'm a bitch. Are you kidding me? How many times do you gotta get hit? That's what they say, Suze.
I'll be right
We're gonna keep
there.
fucking hitting you till you lay down, bitch. I'm saying, but why?
Say it again.
All I ever did was care.
Say it again.
And you guys wonder why there's so many injured, angry men and women.
The attempts at vandalism at your business, it would behoove you to
And the
sign
fancy
windows
people,
that
they're
say
even
black on
funny.
business.
They say, oh, you need help.
What?
Right, that's why I work through all my situations and engaged in business and community and shared those findings and those response tools and the literature and the help that people would need to get through this. So back to this little prediction. They were saying the other night, oh, and I mean, hey, why would any of this resonate with me? That's what they've been wondering ever since I came online. But anyhow, the 28th, very, very ominous thing one of them said about that's the last opportunity to come through the gateway. So we got Missouri, show me state, gateway to the west, the place where they knocked the mounds down and hid the evidence. Just like a lot of states, I mean, we're not really that much different, but we are the divided state. Missouri is the only state that holds that recognition. All over slavery, and then we got to find out that none of us are free, and nobody can buy a story about a white girl being blacklisted. Are you serious? I mean, what are you gonna do for people? But I'll tell you this much. Now, there's levels of participation, and this magic that we're all engaging in, whether you know it or not. Well, I know a little something about it. So, like I've shared with you guys, in my experience, I know that in order to manifest, you must first feel it in your heart brain. It must be a real subject. So that's number one. Number two, you must speak it out loud and document it, because it's kind of like being on the stage of life and you got some lines, right? And when it's your time to go out on stage and speak your lines, you go like this. Now, you've seen kids do that in school. Remember the old plays?
This video's
Play
almost
production,
done.
you know, and the one kid would freeze, man, and forget their lines. To me, that's what's going on here. So, as long as I walk through this, you see, it manifests. And that's why everything keeps manifesting every day. And I am so grateful for this super sensible spiritual experience, which is actually what's always been known as having a fucking religious experience. Isn't that funny? The girl that always knew God was love and love was life and God was there, but I didn't come through God like in a form of a religion or a structure or a box. I came on my own terms, just like I came online. They needed me to document my journey, don't get caught up, and move on and focus. So, I already know what I'm going to do. And of course, if I told y'all, I mean, that'd be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? But I just want you to realize here again that I will always be here for my true friends. And you just don't know how special that you've been in this experience, in this journey home, in this Sophia's correction, in this Gaia navigation experiment. But I go a little silent, except for when I don't. You get what I'm saying? They're already giving me shit today because, see, this all goes back to the whole thing about how much do you love? I mean, do you talk to your dog like you talk to one of God's living creatures outside, or a tree or a plant or a rock or all these living things. And I've been very good to Mr. Computer Head. Mr. Computer Head's been very good to me. We've done incredible things on this internet that y'all come to hear about. But this petty little dicking around is getting on my last nerve. And don't anybody think I won't come after each and every person that has offended my spirit. So, no temporary profile for Sue's Pratt. And remember, I'm the only one of you bitches not addicted to the internet. Because I haven't even been here 4 years, so blow me sideways. And remember, my 4-year anniversary is August 28th. Oops. And August has always been a big month for me. Always was with the Hair Emporium. Always the busiest month. We did our fashion shows. We did the Best of St. Louis, which, oh yeah, Hair Emporium, only salon in North County to ever place. So you can't have anything decent in the ghetto. Even if you are a nationally accredited, board certified master hair colorist. You get what I'm saying, yeah? It wouldn't matter how fancy my clothes were, even though I got a fucking PhD for real in hair color. We got a militant gal slinging these t-shirts online. You gotta love free enterprise. All right, man. Peace, love, and light, for real. From the big yellow house. May it extend out across this universe. Because if you don't think there's action ahead, you're nuttier than a Christmas fruitcake. Talk later. And hey, everybody that was here, thanks for being here. Shannon, Marissa, Willie, Sherry, and Terry. Talk soon. All right. There's my last comment. You gotta get off the phone. Expecting somebody here in about 5 minutes. Joe said that the Amber Alert, the Red Alert, was actually about a 38-year-old black man who abducted a 6-month black child. I said, Joe, I'm just trying to tell you what Ian and I came up with the search for that part of Southwest Missouri, and the Wikipedia stuff, which I do not ever support. And he gets an alternative story about a abduction, and the report expires at 7. But he says that's because if they don't get him in the first so many hours, they're gone. But I'm telling you, it's way too suspicious to have these two conflicting stories. And it's 6:26 p.m. In St. Louis, Missouri, on the 9th of July. Maybe I should watch the 7 o'clock news, but I'll be working, so we'll meet again.